Okay. Well, I keep being like, I don't know, not like too busy or something, but I keep being busy, like doing stuff, getting ready to, I just can't even believe it's only a few days away. It's like, man, this is really going to happen. And I think I'm driving myself now. And the doctor had called me in a Valium too. It's like, man, I don't really want to take anything. And, um, and it just is kind of awkward to go with somebody, like to drive down. I don't know. Maybe I'm a control freak. Um, because then it's like I'm going to be driving in traffic to get to my surgery. Only it's not going to be me driving. It's going to be somebody else driving me. It's going to be all there. And I don't know how they deal with traffic. I don't know, you know, what their stress level is or anything like that when it comes to getting down there and having to get, to an appointment at a certain time and stuff. So I don't know. It just seems like it's something I need to like do for myself. You know what I mean? And this morning I started my car and went out and ran some errands. And so I put the battery cable back on, started right up, and went and did my errands. I think that the hazards came on a couple of times for a few minutes, but they didn't stay on the whole time. And it seemed like one thing that set them off was if I stopped the car and leave it running. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that made it be like, well, we'll just put the hazard lights on, you stupid. Like, I don't know, the electronics. But I feel like, all the stuff is coming into alignment. Like, I feel like I'll get there, like the universe will get me there. So I feel like it would be fine. And I feel like it would be less stressful with doing it myself, than sitting there and just like, waiting for somebody to, like, I don't know. And then, I don't know, I just get weird things in my head because I sit there and think like how awkward this person, I don't really know that well, is sitting in the waiting room while I'm in there getting this surgery. And it's kind of, even though I'm talking about publicly, it is still like when you're, I don't know. The whole thing is just kind of, so it seems more comfortable to draw myself. But you guys can tell me if I'm just going crazy or something in the comments, and it's like, hell no, take the ride. But I mean, there's like a downside to either way. And also, everything is out of our control. Like, if I wasn't meant to get there, I wouldn't get there. And we still have all these things. Like, there's even there was a bunch of states where 911 stopped working, and there's more with the solar flash things where it can be like an EMP or something. I heard a guy talking about this. I don't know if he was talking about EMP or if he was talking about something that's going to happen. The likelihood of stuff going down. And he said that if we get that kind of an electrical charge that shoots down like that, that it can immediately go turn off your breaker. Because he said it can do something inside the breaker and make a fire start in the wall. So immediately if something goes down, turn off the breaker. I maybe would turn it off before I go, just so if anything happens, Stella would be okay in the house. And then the neighbor's going to come let her out. Um, but that would be, like if she got stuck in the house in a fire, that would suck. And I always try to make sure everything's off. But that kind of worried me when that guy said that. And he said everybody needs to make sure they have a fire extinguisher. Because there's going to be weird fire from this electrical thing. It's like something... I don't know. I'll look for the video if somebody wants to watch it and they can decide for themselves. When I listened to it, I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna turn off my breakers for sure." And I have a fire extinguisher, so the it's just stuff to like. It's like to be knowledgeable or something, to know as much as you can about what's going on, so that you're prepared, so that shit doesn't go down and then you're scared and freaking out and not prepared. That's where people are going to freak out. And that is a part of the awakening. That's why it has to go that way, because it's like snapping them out of it. It's like slapping them upside the head because they're not paying attention to anything. So it's going to be like that. And that's why I keep thinking it's going to affect the people who are awake already, but I don't think it's going to affect us in the same way at all with because I feel like we're all expecting something. And and some of us have built it way up bigger in our heads than maybe even what it's going to be. It's all about this awakening. It's about getting all the souls to like pay attention, to stop being attached to like this false reality, because the false reality is falling apart. The false reality isn't going forward, so the people have to wake up and let go of it. And it's so containing, like it limits you in how you see yourself and in you the way you behave and how you look at the world, how you look at everything. So it's very limiting. So I think that that is a big thing. It's just about this awakening and it's going to be like scared straight, kind of like scared awake. And then just think about all these events that continue to happen and happen and happen. They're all horrible, scary, just, oh my God, I can't even get over the horrible stuff that just keeps going on. I'm like, fuck. And it's gonna, until I would say until this event happens, but then there's still going to be violence after because people are going to be so mad about being lied to. Like right now, you sit here and tell a lot of us, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But then when all of a sudden they see, then it's going to be like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like, when you've not seen something and you kept saying no, 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 and then all of a sudden you see you're wrong. It's like it's more emotional. There's like a more emotional buildup. And so that's where it's going to be like a lot of anger and lashing out. So still going to be issues. And, plus when they go into the dark night, which that's what's going to happen. That's what it's all about, is facing yourself so you can see yourself, because none of these people see their full self. So they have to see themselves to face themselves. So, that's why it's going to go down like in this dramatic fashion. And one thing, I don't get it is like right now, the big thing that everybody's talking about is the guy, I guess starting himself on fire on the courthouse. Nobody knows why he did or whatever. It's strange how that's the second one. It's amidst all these protests. Like, there's so many. I have seen ones and it looks like I don't even know what to even say. It looks like we've been taken over, and the people who are protesting are against us. That's what it looks like when you see these protests. And then they're closing down roads, closing down all sorts of stuff, and then you got people just lighting themselves up on. And then what's even crazier now is the news is like, hey, look, there's somebody over there dying. Hey, like, everybody look over here. Let's look. It used to not be like that. It used to be they weren't allowed to show that. I don't know now, though. You got so many people who are trying to go viral. I mean, fucking people go live to murder somebody so they can go viral. Like these, it's like psychopaths, man. So weird. And so now if the news is trying to compete with the regular people doing, like sharing, making videos, I mean, there's tons and tons of people who just walk around, especially in certain cities and stuff, that walk around like and do lives showing the area or whatever. But a lot of people, report on what's going on in their area. And I don't know, they don't censor it. I think if there is somebody laying there all wounded and shit, they'd get a close up because they all want to go viral. But it used to be there was like a standard of on the news. They couldn't show anything. And one time something happened, and they ended up showing, it was back like I think in the 70s or 80s or something, and it was, seems like it was something with an explosion or something. I can't really remember very well, but they were showing something on the news, and this thing happened, and it showed the person get killed. It might have been like something, it was something violent, and the thing happened, and it showed it on the news. And so then they started doing a 60-second delay or something so that they could always catch it so that it wouldn't be shown. But man, that lady, I just saw reporting on it. She seemed like a news lady. She had all her shit. And she was over there like, oh, look, see right over there, that guy, see where the fire is? That's a person. That person is on fire. See how he's just like wiggling around and stuff? Like he's on fire. He's dying right there. See those guys over there running, trying to help him because he's dying. He's like, yeah, he's on fire. He's on fire right there. See that guy right there? He's on fire. I was just like, what the fuck? Boy, the news is kind of like, but this is like the big reveal, you know, like how far will it go? That's the thing is like, so many people don't understand that it is, it's like a corporation. You're just a number. You don't matter in anything of the corporation. Like you don't matter as a patient. Like there's so many fucking disaster stories going on with people's health right now. Fuck, young people. Like that one girl I was talking about, the 26-year-old with the osteoporosis, she hadn't just had several times her back break. She's had like her other bones break. I was like, fuck, you got brittle bones, man. Like that is, because there was this little kid I follow on TikTok. I mean, he's limited in what he can do because if he does very much, his bones break. He's got some sort of brittle bone disease or something, and I've heard of it before. Like there's some weird ones. There's ones where there's people whose skin keeps tightening. There's like all sorts of weird shit, and so anyways, he has this brittle bone thing, and he can't go out and play with the other kids, and there was kids making fun of him and stuff. So anyways, I started following him. And so this young girl, I had said something about, you know, are you taking in all your minerals and stuff? And she has been saying stuff back to me. And she's like, yeah, I'm doing all this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And in the conversation, she said all these things that she had had happen. Like, fuck, that's not just osteoporosis. Well, I guess in the end stage, I guess it affects all your bones. But end stage when you're 26 years old? Like, there is some shit. I swear to God, it's shenanigans, man. I swear to God, they know how to fix some of this shit. They do it to just test on people. Like, let's just see, like, what would happen? There's somebody who knows, like, something that you can do that you could fix some of this stuff. This other young girl I just saw, she's 26. She is in kidney failure and is asking for somebody to donate one. And she's already been in renal failure twice or something. She's been in renal failure for 2 years, and it's getting worse or something. She needs a kidney, and I don't know, it's shocking that they're not available when, you know, their organ, you know, that market is so, maybe it is more closed down now than it was, you know. Maybe there was a lot of black market because of how much damage they do to us. Like there are so many people who like from other countries or come here from other countries or leave here and go to other countries. They keep talking about like how bad our food is and how sick Americans are, how obese Americans are, how they don't get any nutrition, just all of that stuff. In other countries that they get better food, that they don't have, they're not allowed to have all these chemicals. Like there's places you're not allowed to have fluoride. What do we have? They're telling us we have to have it, and swishing it in our mouths at the dentist office and shit. And there's other places you can't fucking put it in anything. It's like, oh my God, it's just, I don't know. It just is awakening to realize like stuff like that. Like that's not by accident. Like there is a world government. There's always been a world government. The facade was that we had anything else. We were already under the takeover. We were already under all their control. This is the awakening, so we take our control back from them because they've already had control this whole time. And, you know, the food thing is, I don't know, it's huge. Especially because that's like a huge vehicle that they use to move a lot of really toxic stuff inside of us. It's so trippy too, because that always messes with me, because like we're not flesh and blood, but there is how they can mess with us. And so it is because you gotta think about like matter. And the way that that matter is created is that here is the frequency is low. So things aren't moving really super fast. They're moving super slow so that they can give this illusion of existence. Oh, and that guy who was here yesterday, he was saying that everything is really just a color vibration. And then the cones of our eyes pick up the vibration of the color, which creates the image that we look at. But there's not really anything there. Like if the frequency changes, we don't splatter apart. We just like, it is like off of Star Trek. And I've been saying, I think we're going to end up traveling like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like you just like take your cells apart or something, and then you go back into another frequency thing, and then they come back together. And one thing too is when you're in your soul body, you move super fast. Like how, you know, they have slowed down all our movement and handicapped us to our abilities. But that when you, as a soul, so I would think it's something, so much about it is just our minds. So once we get to the point of being able to understand our abilities, and then we can do this kind of stuff, see, I think we can go into the thing, this machine thing, and it, you know, whatever, speeds up your vibration super fast. So it's kind of like, not like you wouldn't shed off yourself, but you just would be going faster. I mean, so you're going so fast you can't see it anymore. But then when you're in your soul body like that, all you got to do is think of a place and you're there instantly. So it's not like we really have to travel. Like I've said, this traveling thing is all created. I mean, it's all about controlling and containing us, and so much about controlling us and limitation, and thinking that, you know, we need to go around and drive here and drive there and stuff like that, when it's not like that at all. Like I swear to God, that was part of a disclosure thing. Just those guys saying that they walked from fucking Pakistan and India and shit to Mexico. It's like, and I still feel so certain that there is ways to walk through these things and walk. Like you go through a mountain and then you are all of a sudden in a different mountain thing, and you thought it was further away, but they're closer. Like, I don't know, especially that there's a lot of mountains over like, because in Afghanistan, that's where there was like giants living in those mountains, and they're kind of deserty. So I don't know all the landscape over there, but I don't know. I still think, I mean, how would these people be so poor? Like, we can't afford to be traveling all drive. Just fly over to India. Let's just fly over here, fly over there. Like, especially now. See, I don't want to, just because of all of the bullshit. There's more and more bullshit with the airports, the airplanes, and like, and I think it's all part of it, like the airplanes falling apart in the air, all the fucking drama. Jesus Christ, there's so many different dramas going on planes and stuff, and all that stuff. It's like it's the end of it. And what was that one? Still the fast food thing. Like, Jesus Christ. Um, I swear to God, people are gonna be fucking lining up to McDonald's. Fucking when the solar flash goes, they'll still be like, "Oh, well, we better go get McDonald's." It's like, I can't wait, man. I can't wait for people to understand what it is that they've been consuming, because it's mindless. I mean, people just go around totally mindless, just, well, I'm going to do this. Okay, I got to go do that, and not think things through. But I mean, somebody could be saying, like, I'm not thinking things straight, not driving myself to that thing. But I really have to, I've been thinking it through. I've been thinking about it, thinking about it, and thinking about it. And I kept thinking, man, it would be so much more comfortable to be able to just drive myself. In the day when I was going to the store and stuff, I was even seeing, like, could I drive, like, hold my arms down? But at that point, they're not, I mean, it's going to be so fresh. It's not going to be anything. It's like kind of healed yet. It's going to be still like, because from what he told me is that, so when they put him in, they go in, then whatever your chest muscle is, whatever that muscle is called, that they go in and just slice into it, and then put the implant underneath the muscle. So like, fucking treat it like a bagel, slice in and then stick the cream cheese inside. And so now he's gonna go and slice it. He said he's gonna make like a really small incision, and he's gonna pop it, and then he said it gets really small, he'll pull it out, stitch it up, and then make another little tiny incision, this tiny, and stick the drain in. It's like 8 inches in there, all twisted around, and then stitch that in, and then do the other side. It's really super fast. But so that, and he said, because all these girls were going in and getting these en blancs or whatever, and getting their capsule removed. So he said that on either side of the implant, that it will naturally have some reaction with the interior of your body. This is where it just gets trippy, because we're not flesh and blood, but there's interference, and there's something about plastic interfering. And when you start thinking about, like, we're made of minerals and water and stuff, and then we have to be going at this certain frequency for that to be able, but see, that's all natural stuff. And see, what they're always attacking us with is unnatural stuff, which is weird, because you'd think everything would have to be natural, because everything has to be from some type of creation. But that is their thing behind science, is this making stuff, like making these chemicals and stuff, putting different ones together to cause different reactions. So whatever, they're doing is still toxic to us, because we need the natural, because we're natural. So it's like, we're organic and we need organic. We're minerals, so we need minerals. We're water, so we need water. And so everything we are is drained as we exist. And that's why we need to, like, recharge ourselves, give ourselves more. And that is, like, they know this, so they interfere with it and then trick us. and make us think that we don't need that stuff. We need this other stuff. And then as we get sicker, because it's not the stuff we need, it's all stuff that we don't need that they're giving us. And as we get sicker and sicker, then they start, naming it, calling it aging and all that. And then death and die, all that stuff is all stuff that they make money off of us. But it's like I want to say like it's allowed, because we come here, it's not like we're forced here and they're allowed to treat us bad. No, we come here willingly. We come here to, I'm not sure, I think it's probably different for a lot of different people. You come here to fight the game, you come here to fight the beans, you come here to raise your vibration, you come here to hang out with your friends, you come here to experience, you come here to learn. Whatever it is, it's all about expansion and learning and growing. That's what goes on here. But there's a lot of obstacles. Like there's a force to be reckoned with. There's a low vibration force that interferes. And it's just so wild how they could interfere to the point of getting us to forget so much. Just like on travel and stuff. Because even when you say that kind of stuff, it weirds people out. And it's so weird is how like they were putting it in shows in the 70s. Every time I saw any shit like that, I always thought, oh, that's real. That's real. I swear to God, I don't know if I've ever seen any far out fucking sci-fi thing and thought, oh, they don't have that yet. Anything that they show, they've got. You can just fucking make that shit up. That shit is there. They aren't that fucking smart. I swear to God. They are just, our great science minds are in great limitation, because they're disconnected from their spirit. Like they're always trying to force something instead of, because you got to go inside, and they're always trying to force on the outside, like bust a hole through a door or something. When, you go inside and you go through you, and I don't know, it will make more sense, I think, when this occurs. And, I think there will be more where we'll understand more about vibration and portals and stuff like that, especially when when this event happens and the firmament, which I swear to God, the videos, what I just saw another one, and this girl kept showing me, she kept saying, oh, it looks like there's a rainbow over here. It hadn't even been raining. And it was like later in the evening, she's like, I don't understand what this is. And it doesn't even go up right. It's just like this one part. And so she kept looking and looking. And finally she found the other side. But there was no connection at the top. But to me, what I saw was Nibiru it was huge. It was a giant planet. It wasn't a fucking rainbow. It was a shadow. And so whatever, the event goes on, and there's supposed to be this big star explosion or something that's supposed to happen. Oh, I don't know. That one guy I heard talking about, I don't know if I shared the video. I can look for it though. But, he was talking about it was supposed to happen in the next few weeks. And I think that was last week. And he said it was supposed to happen within 3 weeks. And that's what the scientists were saying. So who knows? Like, who knows what, if they're just trying to keep us on the edge of our seats. But there is going to keep being stuff. There's going to be sky stuff, because the firmament's going to go away. And I swear to God, it is lowering or something like that. And there is some kind of video that they show something about the North Pole and the South Pole, and they're watching the poles, because the pole shift is that's when everything flips. And that is when, it's going to become like tropical, like our weather is going to change. There's going to be huge changes when when the pole flips, when the pole shift flips. But to me, I always see it energetically. Like that's like the physical representation of what will happen on this planet when when the pole shifts and it flips. And it will be like north will be south, and south will be north, and it will be the weather and stuff will all change. But I have heard that it's not going to be winter anymore, so I don't know. If it's going to be like everything's just going to be tropical and beautiful, and that's going to be our experience, that would be really cool. But so but there is movement they're watching, like that things are very out of alignment, and that, think about micro macro and the representation of the people and how the people are acting and what they're doing and everything is out of alignment, everything is like chaos. I think so many people are chaos inside themselves. I mean, it is just coming out. And I think a part of it is, as the energy changes on the planet, as more energy comes in, because it's going to change, because it's going to a higher vibration where you have to release all this stuff. You have to release your biases, your anger, your resentment, your hatred, your hatred of yourself. Like, all this shit is low vibration. You have to let go of it. You have to re-examine it, try and understand yourself, let it go, move forward. And which, is a lot when, you've got millions of people who don't know the first thing about mental health, other than, go down and get a prescription. And so there is so much more, to the like what I talk about is about like your awareness, paying attention to yourself. That's how you get out of being reactive. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why am I acting this way? Why am I acting that way? Become more observant of yourself and question yourself and trying to understand yourself. And the more that you are able to do that, the better you are going to be able to catch yourself. And so then you'll start being able to manage yourself, because you won't just be reactive. You'll be able to catch yourself before you have the reaction. You'll be able to question yourself. Well, is this appropriate? Is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to say? Is this how I want to act? Is this how I want to be remembered? However it is, just you taking your time to walk yourself through it, so that you get to the point. Sometimes you get to the point you're like, fuck, that really doesn't matter. I already am finished with it. I don't even feel anything about it anymore. I'm just not going to say a thing. I'm just going to sit here and watch. Sometimes that happens all it takes is you just calming yourself down, thinking a little deeper, not just being like, oh, I can't believe that. Well, fuck you. Well, I don't even, because where is that getting us? Hostile, uh, we've got a hostile society where everybody is at everybody's throat. Everybody's ready to just, take everybody out. Like, nobody gives a shit. And it's going to be more and more violence too in the cities. Like, that's going to keep growing, because not just the intensity, but all of the different people's energy is becoming more and more tense, and they're not working on their stuff. And that's why I said it's almost kind of, what was that called? Like that combusting or something. That was so weird. It was like, I think in the 80s, all of a sudden there was like these people who would just spontaneously combust. They're just sitting in their house. They just blew up. It just blew up. And everybody's like, what the fuck? Weren't they fucking blowing up? Like, that was such a fucking thing for a while. Everybody was freaked about it. And it was like, fuck, am I going to just blow up? And I was watching some old movie, and I was like, it's so crazy, because it literally is like, we really are here learning from each other. Even I see people on TikTok all the time, like, what do you guys think I should do? Like, is this normal? Is this not normal? Just like me saying, what do you guys think? Me driving myself? Is that totally whacked? Like, we're all, like, we're all always relying on each other for feedback, for some kind of understanding. Well, is that weird? Is that weird? And it is, and we have been like that. But when you watch the old movies and stuff, there is so much about, like, I don't know, like, us trying to learn from each other, but trying to teach each other and help each other. So I can really see how it's not like a bad thing. It seems like it's kind of like, well, that's weird, but really it's not really a bad thing, because people are, and then plus you ask more questions, but it helps people to, like, to identify how they feel. But so if you say something, like even if everybody comes back and says, oh man, that's crazy, I would still have to go with what my gut said. Like if my gut said, you'll be fine, trust us, we'll get you there and we'll get you back, then, I would still trust them. And that's why I've always seemed like a whack job to so many people, because I'm always listening to a voice that's inside of me that people can't hear, and people don't think that that's real. People don't trust it. And to me, that is, I don't know, it's the most real thing. Like I feel it on the inside. And then I've had a long enough relationship with this situation, or however you want to look at it. If it's your guides, your higher self, your however you think it is. But if it is, I've had a long enough relationship that I do trust, like whatever it is, because then there is a part, just like when I was 3 years old, I've had enough of those kinds of situations where I go and I do the thing, and then it's like, oh, see, you could have listened, you should have listened, like what we tried to tell you. And there's so much of like, oh, okay, yeah. And looking back, and so it's like a different step is to be like, okay, I'm going to trust ahead. It's going to be like, okay, you guys have got me this far. Like, fuck. Like, I'm kind of blown away, really. It's just like, oh my gosh, everything just went together so fast. Over when, now I'm on this side, it was tedious getting up to it. But then it's like, dang. Like, I was like, in a matter of like 5 weeks, I paid this whole thing. It's like, fuck, how did I even manage that? And then, so I just feel like everything going together, the whole thing. So I feel like, it's the right thing. I'm going in the right direction, and, there's not obstacles that get you, when you're going, but there is you are your obstacle. You, us, people, of coming from the experiences we've come from, to learn how to trust, to learn how to go in a direction like that and be like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but I got to trust that you guys are going to get me there and you're going to get me home. And that I don't have any lessons to learn in that situation, that I'm going to get home and everything's going to be fine. And that, going into that trust, because you got to remember, like, you're on a ride. Like, it's already set. The ride's already going. But we're always trying to fight it and control it. And so it's very different than to just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to trust. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it. And, just I'm all in. So, and I've had to go all in on all of this stuff about this. But it is like that when you are manifesting, when you are going towards something. And that's the thing, is all these people try and tell you like manifesting is like it just drops out of a hat. No, you got to go towards it. You got to, it's like you're manifesting, you're working towards it, you're going towards it. I mean, like I'm saying, like this is kind of a jump. I have to be like, okay, I'm not going to just come up with, because even if you could go like, okay, well, I'm going to play it safe and I'm just going to have the neighbor take me. I'm like, fuck, if his car breaks down and I'm halfway there? And then it's like, I mean, he would only be able to say, oh, sorry, because if you're not meant to get there, you're not meant to get there. When you're meant to get there, they'll get you there. And so it doesn't matter if you go A or B or C, that you're where you're going to be, where you're supposed to go, because that's where you're supposed to go, because that's where you're meant to be. And so we get all on our tizzy. No, well, I got to do that. Well, what about that? Oh, well, if I try this, well, if I try that, maybe if I wear this and do that, and we try and do all these things like we've got control, but we don't have control. It is, we're on a ride, but it's going. And you can sit and scream and yell and whine and cry, or you can just put your hands up and shut your eyes and say, take me away, and just go with the flow. And that is where the experience becomes, I think, not only more pleasant. Like it's like, but it's working up to it, because there's periods of time where it's like, fuck, this is cool. Then there's other times where it's challenges, like, oh, let go, let go, let go of control. Okay, but what about this? Well, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, if I'm meant to be there, I'm meant to be there. So yeah, I can sit here and stress out and try this and try that and do this and do that, but it's not gonna make a difference, because what's meant to be is meant to be. And I believe I'm meant to be there, as everything has been lining up to get me there. And so that is where I want to try and trust in that kind of energy. But anyways, that is what manifesting is all about, though, is you going towards what it is you want. And then there is lessons, there's things that happen, there's obstacles, there's things that happen, and then you go and you sit with the information, with whatever it is you're going through, and you communicate inside yourself, and try and understand and look at it from a higher perspective. So you're not just in the game trying to force it. You're sitting back and asking him, am I going the right way? Is this what you guys are wanting me to do? Or did you want me to do something else? Am I not paying attention? Am I supposed to be going a different direction and I'm not listening? Like, that's where you got to go in and have these periods of time of introspection and reflection. Introspection and reflection are so important. Reflection, when you go in and it's like, okay, so, what am I learning here? What am I seeing? What am I trying to understand? And having periods of time of looking at yourself in a deeper perspective. And so it's very important to use your time, like you can call it meditation or however you want to do it, but it's times of quieting your mind and sitting still in peace and quiet, and just going back over things, thinking about things, going into a quiet space where you're talking to your higher mind, and not with everybody else's energy around you and all of everybody else's thoughts and what they think. And that is, a big pressure too, is if you're in this city and around all that energy, especially right now where it's so intense. And finding your peace so that you can calm down and think. And that is one of the things that they do to keep people in interference, is to keep everybody bouncing off everybody else's energy and contained spaces, and people not being able to feel like connected to themselves. They feel interfered with and disconnected and angry. And I think so many people feel so pushed, like they're trying to hurry and get here and hurry and get there, and they got to do this and got to do that, and they better be there, and somebody's going to be mad at them. Like there's always this pressure of like feeling like you're not getting it done, you're not good enough, you're not going to be getting everything like you've got all these people running around like that all the time. And they don't realize how much they're interfering with each other. Like there will be so much more calmer, or so much more calmness to people when they start getting more separated, more spread out, like not so just on top of each other. It's too much. And then think about too, even in the cities where it's so many people, that there's so much more with all the electronics. So it's not just the people's energy, but there's like shit ton more electronics and all that energy going. And that energy is the energy, I swear, that they create to interfere, to create that disconnect with you and the Wi-Fi to your spirit. So they create that atmospheric noise so that it's like hard, if you haven't practiced, to be able to sit in quiet and connect to yourself. There's a lot of distractions, a lot of I'm sure people sit there and they start feeling anxious, and then if you got a bunch of fucking dark energy attached to you, that's fucking field day to them. They'll just start talking shit. And so they'll fill you up with a bunch of bullshit. That is where you got to notice, like, okay, if that happens, Like, I've got a fucking shit ton of dark energy. If I got a bunch of dark energy attached to me, then I'm obviously in a vibration that but they're around all over the place. So, I mean, they're fucking all over the place. But if they're very interfering with all your thoughts, then that's where you got to start saying, there's something that you need to face or something you need to do to raise your vibration to get them off of you. And, it could be just that you're super stressed right now. Because it's very stressful. And that's why you got to notice, like, if you're stressed and stuff, because that's where you're just giving out the loosh and they'll just all on you like it's fucking Thanksgiving. So you got to have awareness of, like, your, energy that you're putting out. So, like, if you're all like scared and oh my god, what are we gonna do, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, when nobody knows what's gonna happen. And so you're feeding a beast that you don't know. And then why are you feeding the one that's the scariest? Why not feed the one that is like, oh, what, air balloon's gonna drop down and pick us up and we're gonna all sit and watch, like, come up with any kind of story that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel good. You don't have to feed it. Once you have awareness there's shit going on, you don't have to feed the beast. Like, I could sit here, like, oh my god, it's windy, oh my god, a tree's gonna fall, what am I gonna do if the tree falls? I'll think like, okay, well, if a tree falls and I'm supposed to die, then I'll die. And if a tree falls and they take out my house, well, that's supposed to happen. Like, whatever is supposed to happen is gonna happen. And so, there's nothing that we can do about that. What's meant to be is meant to be, and we literally signed up for this shit. Like, we literally signed up for this shit. It just blows my mind sometimes. Because I'm like, fuck, we are a lot cockier than I think that we have any idea. Like, some of this shit that I feel like I've taken on in my life, it's like, fuck, girl. Like, god damn. Maybe trying to power through. Like, what the hell? But, like, I don't know what all stuff, like, I'm putting back in balance. Like, I'm just getting to know my soul self, I guess, connecting to your higher self. But like I've said, when you're connecting to your higher self, there's a lot of letting go of this reality, because this reality isn't real. And so, I don't know, there's just like this disconnect from that reality and you connect more into yourself. But I don't know my whole entire history of my soul. Like, it would be really cool if there is some kind of access thing, that we can look in, like a looking glass kind of thing. And we can look and we can pull up all of our different lives and we can just look at them and have a much deeper understanding of ourselves. And I have heard of those, a girl on her NDE, she was saying that when she was dead, that they handed her one of those and she was looking and she could see all these different lives and see different experiences and stuff. So, but, none of us know everything about ourselves. Like, we are billions of years old. Like, we're as old, like, I don't know if we're as old as time, but yeah, we're fucking old. We're not fucking 50, 60, 20, 10, 9, none of that. We're all old. And in the way I always think of that is just due to the fact that we're conscious energy. And even though there's a lot of people who are in an unconscious state, I don't think that, because like, this isn't real life. That's the thing. And to come into this it's part of the game. Man, it seems like it's part of the game now, is this awakening part, and how you do it and how well you do it and how well you connect to your soul and how well you listen. And because it's you and you, it is like you and you. You are the director of you. And and it is important to understand some of mental health. But seriously, you don't have to be an expert to have spiritual healing. You have to just be willing to face yourself, to look at things deeper. And a huge important thing is about forgiveness. But you got to realize that forgiveness isn't just to do somebody a favor who fucked you over. No, it's to do yourself a favor. Because holding on to anger and resentment will make you sick. It will keep you low vibration. So that's why it's a big part of all of this release, is to let go of your pain, let go of your suffering, let go of your hostility, let go of your anger and your resentment, and look towards forgiveness and Um, and then if you forgive somebody, you don't have to go and hang out with them and be like, okay, well, I forgave you. Now let's go hang out. You don't have to do that. I mean, it is always good any of the time that you have to challenge yourself on your boundaries. Like, don't ever feel intimidated or scared, like, oh man, they're going to push my boundaries. Like, I know that feeling. They're going to push my boundaries, and that's going to make me have to stand up for myself. And it's very uncomfortable, but it's also a lot of learning. And especially, I think most of us are just beginning to start that. I think a lot of people don't have good boundaries, and then they get mad at other people for stepping too close, crossing the line when they didn't have good boundaries to begin with. And that is where we have so many codependent and toxic relationships. But that is all stuff that can be fixed and healed. Like, I mean, and I've said before, once you figure out your diagnosis, once you figure out what's wrong with you, go get some self-help books and look at them, try and understand all of the factors, like your basic things that they categorize you as, that you do this and you do that. Ask yourself. Don't just be like, well, they say I do this. Ask yourself, well, do I do that? Become aware of it. Do I do that? Pay attention. Do I do that? Don't just automatically go, well, I do that. No, pay attention. And so see, what things that you do. And once you can see that, once you can understand yourself on that level, that's when you can start fixing it and doing different things. You can start, a big thing about when you are asking yourself why you're doing things is getting down to the crux of it, because you're usually reacting out of, it's kind of like a protection, like a protective measure to be able to go out into the world. Like, everybody got hurt as kids, and so they shielded themselves. They built walls around themselves. They came up with a plan so nobody else could hurt them, and all of these different things. Some people masked, some people became angry. Like, everybody had these certain developments from being hurt by something or someone in our childhoods and our past. And so usually everything goes back to finding that part, like where you got hurt, so you can let go of it, and then noticing how you adapted your personality around the incident, whatever had happened to you. And so it's almost like you live your pain forever. And so that's one reason why that all this is happening too, is to release it, to let it go. It has no reason to go forward anymore. It's already done. Like, why would you want to take it into another life? No, you got to heal it and let it go. And that is going to raise your vibration, and it's going to make you get along with other people in your soul group that are here to help you and teach you these lessons. And so that is, I don't know how much of that will be about building community and stuff. I'm sure there will be some communities that will have, like huge amounts of family in it. And then there'll be other ones where it's, not a bunch of people who are all related. But there'll be communities where there'll be a lot of, people who are related, because that's another big part too of all this healing and stuff, is like we discarded the elderly, locked them up, put them in homes and stuff. And I was, there's this woman who I've been talking to on TikTok, and I had a bunch of people asking me about the minerals and the copper, and this I don't want to say well, it is reversing aging. It's aging backwards by refilling your cup with what it needs. And so she was talking about, like, she's elderly. Well, I don't want to say elderly. I mean, she's like my age. I don't feel like I'm elderly, but she has an elderly or father-in-law that she has to take care of. So she's older, but she has this elderly person that she's got to take care of who's got a lot more problems. And so I was saying, I gave her some ideas to try, and an important, easy one. And she saw something right off the bat where she was so excited. Like, she was so excited with me. It's like, it's not my information. I just go out and listen to these different things. But the putting on old music. So if it's an old person, find music that is around their era. A lot of the older people, if you go put on like fucking Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Elvis Presley, you'll get a reaction. That it will bring them back to a certain time. That is a pretty easy popular, like in that kind of, like, you don't have to go back and try and find like some big band or something like that. Like, you could try, like, those are all over in the thrift stores and stuff, but you get some records and you start playing the records, and then old movies, put movies on from their era. Don't put on new movies. That's going to make them feel old. It's going to make them feel like they don't understand what's going on. And then plus the stuff that they do in movies now with the violence and the sex and the jokes and the woke and all that stuff, it just makes them feel like they don't understand, they don't belong. You pull them back into where they grew up on a certain kind of movies and music. It brings them back to themselves. It brings them back to like a status of balance or something. So it doesn't like confuse the mind. I think that is a part of what they're doing too, is to keep things disjointed with the generations, to make each generation feel kind of like, I don't have any place here anymore. It's kind of like, oh, I'm aging and I'll die off now. That's part of their plan of getting rid of us. So, but if you find that you have an elderly person that you're around and they seem to be deteriorating mentally and stuff, or physically, put on stuff from back when they were younger. It takes them, it's the weirdest thing, but it takes them back to feeling younger, and then they start representing themselves younger, because everything is about what's in our minds. And that is so important. You know, even like, oh, when I went to the store, the radio, I get Canadian radio, don't forget, but the guy on the radio said that there is a huge thing about a bad, not just a bad batch of Botox. It was purposely like interfered. Like there's a rotten, they got some bad stuff, and then they started selling it, and there's a whole bunch of people in the hospital. There's a bunch of people, and I keep seeing these girls having these weird things. So, but that is a part of what was going to go on. These things, it's like, because everything is pushing us in a different direction. And there will be some people who will have some horrible situations happen from their choices. And then they're going to have to reevaluate their choices, why they made their choices, why they're so insecure, why they're, you know, same thing what I'm having, you know, well, I've been doing it for a while now. But yeah, and the whole thing, you know, like facing yourself of like, fuck, I went and put this fucking plastic inside of me out of insecurities. And so, but, you know, everybody's got to face their stuff. So, you know, but there's a lot of stuff going on. But but that is a thing with, the people. If you put on stuff that brings them into a place, then they will go and age themselves backwards. And it's like this connection. And if you, as like a girl or something, like if you keep telling yourself like you're fat, you're ugly, your hair sucks, like you're never good, because you're coming up with that, not because you're looking at yourself going, God created me, and fuck, hell yeah, not because of that. No, you're doing that because you're comparing yourself to someone else, and you're not seeing yourself. You don't see yourself when you're comparing yourself to someone else. All you see is what's wrong. Like, oh, that girl, she's got perfect eyes. If I just had her eyes, I would look good. If I just had those eyes, then you start seeing and you start comparing yourself, and oh, well, mine suck. I should have had hers, you know. And so you get yourself to feel like you're not good enough, like you're not pretty enough, because you're comparing yourself to somebody else, because you're dragging yourself down. So if you spend time not comparing yourself, not thinking like, oh, there's a beauty standard. Who gives a shit if there's a beauty standard? Like, how many people do you need to think you're pretty to be able to go in the world? Like, you know, you need 100, you need 200, You need, like, how many? You need to walk through the store and have everybody, cheer you because you're so beautiful. Like, you need to have everybody on Instagram, like your stuff when it's a bunch of weirdos that probably aren't even real accounts anyways. But so, that is where you have to evaluate, like, why am I so caught up in this? Why can't I just look at myself and go like, dang, you're beautiful. I love you. And appreciate yourself. Appreciate you got your grandma's nose, you got your grandpa's eyes, you got, to be able to see these parts of yourself. And, I think that there's a connection to some of the stuff that is about what you're here to work out, has to do with how you represent yourself, how you're birthed and what you're representing is part of what you need to be looking at. But it is important to be looking at yourself and building yourself up, not comparing yourself, to keep finding things you like about yourself. Find something you like about your face. And some people, they're really hard on themselves, but you just got to keep seeing yourself as like, you're a unique flower. And, there is some that, have got some bent, some of their petals have come off, or some are bent weird, or they got a weird color, or whatever the case may be. Not every flower has to be perfect to be beautiful. It's the uniqueness that gives it its beauty. It's the observer. So if you can't observe yourself for your own beauty, then how can you expect anybody else to? And I think that is a part of what is so driven too, because that guy was talking about the Botox, and he's like, I know everybody's out there trying to look good for summer. And, when people are in the hospital and shit, and I'm thinking, man, like, look at what the beauty standard has done to people. It's made people so sick, so insecure, so desperate. And so the more that you can get yourself into just feeling good about yourself. I had one girl in my comments, I don't know off what video, and she had said that she had stopped wearing makeup, because she used to wear makeup and then she had stopped. And I've seen my own daughters do this, and I did this. And so, but it's like this getting back in touch with, like, okay, well, I look okay. I look, I'm not going to wear any mascara today. Well, I look okay. I'm okay with that. And then, you keep letting go and letting go. And she was saying, like, as she started realizing that, she stopped worrying, like, all the time. Like, the people who think you're pretty are the people who are supposed to think you're pretty. Like, you don't need every single person that you encounter to think you're pretty. And then it's impossible anyways. Like, not everybody thinks the same thing as pretty. And so, but the insecurity with the girls that just keep on putting on more makeup and stuff, it's all about insecurity. And you have to let go of those crutches and be like, okay, I'll be fine. Like, because it is about accepting your own face, about, I'm okay. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to look good every fucking second. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to look like something out of a computer image or something. I'm a freaking natural person. And, don't waste your life and time being hard on yourself for not being a natural person, because you're not a CGI person or something, not a perfect replica of some fucking computer image. Like, all these girls who would rather look at their face through a filter than be comfortable just accepting themselves. And it blows my mind still. Like, it's like cranked up. These girls coming on trying to tell you serious shit, and they've got filters on. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously. I can't take you seriously if you can't take yourself seriously. What are you hiding from? Why are you hiding? And I get that there's so much insecurities and stuff, but how do the insecurities go away? You have to take steps, uncomfortable steps towards that. So you have to, and I have seen this one lady, she has totally, like, she's not using the filter, and I know that she was feeling insecure, and it's like, fuck, I just am, mad props, man, to be able to work through and just be like, fuck, I look good. Because that part, I don't know how this works, but when you accept yourself, you'll become more beautiful. You accept yourself, you shine. More and more beauty. Like, it's crazy. It's like, as long as you are keep focusing on like, oh man, I got too many lines. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, this is wrong. That's wrong. As long as you're focused on that, is like the attention is drawn there or something, and the more that you let it go and the more you just love yourself and just appreciate yourself, then, the more that you will have that energy, the more that that will be, and the more you will shine. And it's due to you loving yourself and appreciating yourself. And that energy comes through and shows through. So insecurity and stuff is like, I think we can all see it lately. Like, it's very highlighted right now. And to realize how many people are so insecure, it's sad. But, that's how we were programmed. We were programmed to not like ourselves, to think we're not good enough. There's nothing good enough about us. And so, anyways, that's the challenge. And, it's just taking things, little by little. It's baby steps. You don't have to, do it all and, be the master, and, you just woke up and like you're the master of all things fast. No, you just take your ride, take your steps, go towards you, and, you'll get there. And so I know it's going to be super overwhelming to a lot of people, and they're going to be kind of lost. But I think there's going to be a lot more people who are going to step up also, talking about healing, and, because there's going to be a lot of people, like mass amount of people. So, and it's got to be getting close. Like, things are so crazy. The sounds outside are crazy. Everything is just so crazy. So it's got to be getting close. I don't know what it's going to be, when it's going to be, or anything. I mean, all you can do is just be prepared for anything, but don't be scared. Just be comfortable. Like, okay, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And keep remembering, when shit goes down, keep telling yourself, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Don't start thinking, oh my God, this is happening, now I'm gonna die. Like, they set off a nuke, they say that they set one off, which they can't. That if they do, don't start telling yourself, oh, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. No. Keep telling yourself, this is an illusion, this is an illusion, this is an illusion. Get yourself calm, because it's an illusion. And that's how you keep on kicking ass and keep on going. You don't have to die. That is part of the illusion. Once you wake up from the illusion, you gain control. So just remember that. And remember to love yourself, to love everyone, and have a loving day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.